We're ready to
Yeah,
rock and roll.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming out today and being open to turn your cameras on. It's so hard for me to do these if I'm just staring at a bunch of names or phone numbers on the screen. So it's so nice to see faces, and Demario's making me hungry here back there. So I'm gonna, if anybody needs to be eating, by the way, I certainly understand that. It just take a break in between bites to ask your question if you like. So we have a lot to go over today. Um, Let me throw out one thing real quickly here. With a group this large, I usually try to start off um, with an apology from our department because our department is short-staffed, as most government agencies are. And so it's a very good chance that some of you in this group have made phone calls to me or to other people in our department and not gotten them returned, or got them returned very late. Or so I ask that you accept my apology for that if that's the case. If any of you have tried to reach me and not been able to, or been delayed, please accept my apology. I get behind sometimes, and it takes me a while to get to folks. So if that's the case, then I beg for your forgiveness. So today we're going to talk about. So you want to be a food entrepreneur, and I believe we probably should start in Tennessee. The food business, as far as regulatory, can get a little bit confusing. And before I start into that, I'd like to ask you if a question comes up while we're talking about something. We have less than an hour now to hit on a lot of information. So it's going to be very surface and very quick, and I'm going to be hopping around a lot. So I just do not want us to get to the end of the hour and not have addressed as many questions as possible. So let's start with the basic difference between regulatory agencies that handle different permits. Michelle said that some of you are interested in food trucks. If that's true, raise your hand if you're interested in a food truck. So I have one, two, okay, at least three, four, maybe. Okay, so more than likely, your permit will be issued by the Department of Health in whatever county you're in. So if you're in Nashville, then the Davidson County Metro Department of Health will be the one that will be in charge of your regulatory oversight. That's a little bit confusing because if you are considered a food manufacturer, or actually the law says where food is manufactured, packed, or held for introduction into commerce, then you are regulated by the Department of Agriculture, which is me. So if you're considered a restaurant, which in other words, if you're making a product to go or for immediate consumption, we usually call it, then you will be regulated by the health department. If you're wanting to start a manufacturer packaged food of some kind, if you want to start an actual retail store, if you want to start a food warehouse of some kind, then you will be regulated by the Tennessee Department of Agriculture. And that's a little bit confusing. And I'll give an example where that gets really confusing is when you go into a Walmart and there's a Subway in the Walmart. Well, technically, the Subway would be inspected by the health department, and the Walmart itself would be inspected by the Department of Agriculture. Now, we do our best not to double dip on that and be as efficient from the government standpoint as possible. So a lot of times we're cross-trained with our inspectors are cross-trained with the requirements. So we do our best not to double dip there. But I do want to say that if any of you are thinking about a food truck, technically, if you're selling something that is packaged, like for instance, a Subway selling packaged milk, making sandwiches, well, the packaged milk side technically would be inspected by the Department of agriculture, and the sandwich ready to eat would be inspected by the health department. Now we think that that's a little bit crazy, so we do our best not to get too nutty on the inspections. So we normally will take a scenario and sit back and just using Subway as example. When you walk into a Subway, it's clearly a shop that's intending on their main product is subs. Their main product is not packaged chips and milk and packaged cookies and things like that. So whatever your main focus would be, that's where you lie. So for those of you talking about a food truck, if you're preparing food like Demario is there, if you're preparing food for immediate consumption and then just happen to sell chips on the side or whatever, you're more than likely only going to be subject to the Department of Health for your regulation. And I said a lot for that. Does that make sense to everybody? Is there anything unclear about that one? Okay. All right. So um, let's just talk about. I'm going to share my screen, and there's always a lot of questions about what makes a commercial kitchen, and that's something that will be in play for either a food service situation like a restaurant or a food truck or a manufactured situation. So I'm going to share my screen here. So there it is. Okay. Well, can everybody see that? Yes, no? Everybody's
Yes.
muted.
Mike,
You see
Mike,
it?
you've got it's the law up there. It's that
Oh, okay. Let's stop sharing then. Okay, let's try it again.
yeah,
Okay.
you should have a screen. Nope,
Okay, you
that's
see.
the law too.
Hmm. Okay, well, let's try it again.
Are you clicking on the screen that has the presentation?
I am, but it's actually just says food manufacturing slash
Nope.
warehousing. You see
Yep,
that?
that's what you got.
Okay, that's what I want. Okay, that's
Oh,
good.
okay. I'm
Okay, yeah,
sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. I wanted to just put this up here because these are the basic requirements for any permitted food scenario. And I get questions all the time. People say, what's the minimum square footage for food for a kitchen? What, where can it be located, etc. And this is taken from the Code of Federal Regulations, CFR Part 117, in the Code of Federal Regulation, like a lot of government documents, is extremely long, and I pared it down to actually 20 bullet points. So hopefully that will help you get through that. But let's just go through these one at a time. Um, and I'll be very quick. The biggest one you're gonna need to really adhere to, and I've got it number one, is walls, floors, equipment, ceilings, and food prep, handling, storage, and toilet rooms must be of light color, smooth, non-absorbent, and easily cleanable. Okay, we'll make you crazy with those two phrases, non-absorbent and easily cleanable. So that's the biggest thing if you're thinking about building a commercial kitchen on your property, or if you're thinking about renting one. Of course, if you're renting one, they're already permitted, but this is just a requirement. So anything that you're doing from a commercial kitchen has got to be non-absorbent, easily cleanable. Now, what does that mean? That means that if it's a brick wall or a concrete block wall, like what I'm in here, if it's just blocks, that's porous. If it's sealed and finished blocks, like this is painted, then that's non-absorbent and cleanable. Same thing would apply to drywall. If it's unfinished drywall, that's a porous surface. If it's finished drywall, that is cleanable and a non-porous surface. So that's just an example, and that's one of the things that people ask all the time. A lot of manufacturers want to use raw wood in certain places, and that can be fine as long as it's finished and it's not a place where pathogens can hide, and they love to hide in wood. Okay. Let's just, you know what, Michelle, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I tell you what I may do, since we're moving along here. Let's just, I'll make this document available to anyone. Would that be okay with everybody, or is there any specific kitchen requirement that anybody's gonna want to see?
Mike, if you'll email everything to me, I'll
Okay.
broadcast it and send it to everybody that's attending.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. All right. And the one thing that's comes up very often is that when you're in a food truck, you will need to find a commissary kitchen to prepare your food in, unless your food truck is actually permitted as a food as a commercial food prep space, which most food trucks you see up and down, going up and down the road, they've actually prepped their food at a commissary kitchen somewhere, and then they're just using their food truck as a way to deliver it to your customers. So that's one of those things. It's a little bit confusing as well. For a food truck to be completely permitted, you would have to maintain wastewater um, uh, facilities there. You would have to provide um, wash, rinse, sanitize procedures on the truck. There's just several things that you would have to, and some people do that, but most food trucks are not equipped to be completely licensed as a food prep area. So the commissary comes into play. All right, so let's go back to let's share another document, and this one I want to make sure. Okay, can you see Tennessee Food Freedom Act? Can
Yes,
everybody see
sir.
that? Okay. I just I want to make sure, if have nothing else, no more time to do anything, I just want to make sure everybody understands this, because this is a very new law that was passed in 2022, and it actually enables food entrepreneurs to make products and sell them without being permitted, and make them in your home kitchen. And the reason I always want to kind of focus on this is this is the ultimate, in my opinion, the ultimate way to put food entrepreneurs into business on a very, it just doesn't cost you a bunch of money. You don't have to go out and buy a lot of things. You don't have to go out and rent space in a kitchen. You don't have to do anything. You can start making your brownies or your chicken sandwiches that DeMario's making in your home kitchen. You can start making a lot of things in your home kitchen and sell them either on a wholesale basis or on a direct to consumer basis. And what that looks like many times is farmers markets. Is there any of the attendees here selling to farmers markets currently? I don't see us. I don't see any hands. Okay. Well, if you're not, and you're looking for some good feedback on your product, farmers market's a great way to do that. Farmers markets intentionally try to keep their booth prices low. A lot of them do not require you to be there every time the farmers market's open. They'll allow you just to come and set up a tent and just show up, kind of like a pop-up restaurant. So I strongly encourage you to take a look at that if you're kind of on the fence as far as what you're going to do, as far as how you're going to market the product. And if you wouldn't mind, put into chat exactly kind of what the plans are for marketing your product, and also, if you can include that, put in the nature of your product as far as what you're thinking about, the actual thing you're thinking about doing. Okay, so let's go on down here. Okay, does anybody remember the old cottage foods law? There was a law called it was actually a permit we had years ago where we issued permits for people making food in their home, and we actually had inspectors go into home kitchens and inspect them like they would a restaurant. Well, we realized after many years of doing that permit really didn't mean a whole lot. So we repealed that law and replaced it with the Food Freedom Act, which in turn became a law. And so basically what this means is it says here, these are and we still use the term cottage foods just because it's made at home, but cottage food is a non-potentially hazardous food sold directly to the consumer within the state. That's the way that used to be. Now we've had some changes there, which it could be produced in a home kitchen or other non-permitted kitchen in Tennessee without requiring permitting and inspection. Okay, that's where we've been. Okay, the difference is this right here, where we're going. This is the Food Freedom Act. You can see it was signed by Governor Lee on the 14th of April, 2022. And we've recently had an addition to that, which actually makes it easier to get into the food business from a home kitchen. So let's talk about specifics there. The significant changes are that we actually are requiring or allowing now potentially hazardous foods to be sold that are made in a home kitchen. This includes many things. There's an exhaustive list there that it does not include. You cannot include any food that has unpasteurized milk in it, or just unpasteurized milk itself, or that contain alcoholic beverages, fish, shellfish, meat byproducts, or meat food products. And these are connected to allergens, and we're going to talk a lot about that in a few minutes. Now, the one exception to that is the USDA actually has a small poultry exemption that allows you to sell poultry that you've actually slaughtered on your property, or someone else has slaughtered for you, and you can sell that, or you could use it in your restaurant for for your customers. Now this applies to poultry only, which poultry does include duck, turkey, does not include wild game, or unless the game like dove or other poultry was raised in captivity, then it applies. It does not apply to poultry that is harvested in the wild. So in other words, you can't go duck hunting and then bring the duck back and use it under this exemption. You could raise duck like you would raise any other farm animal and slaughter that and use that as a poultry exemption, but you can't harvest it from the wild. Um, that one get makes people feel a little bit funny usually, just in our world of over regulation, to have something that is a USDA exemption that does not have any regulatory whatsoever. Makes people feel a little bit odd, I think. But it is a legitimate small poultry exemption. Now there are rules connected to it, and the USDA tells me that they can come on your farm at any time and inspect your slaughter facility and your the way you're preparing poultry under this exemption. I've never known of that happening in my 12 years with the department. I've never heard of it happening. Now it could happen tomorrow after I say it doesn't. So you should always be doing things in a sanitary manner, and I can get you details about that program if you like. So any
Right.
questions? Any questions about
Yeah,
that?
Mike, we have a couple that were posted in the chat.
Okay.
We have Nicole says, I hosted long tables, conversation salon pre-COVID, and want to host them again with cooking classes as part of the offering in my and other people's homes. I am confused by insurance requirements and she realizes it may not be the right question for this session.
No, it's a good question, and I can certainly answer it. Number one, when you mention insurance, um, I have what I call a list of shoulds and shalls. A should, a very strong should, is that you have liability insurance, and I'll speak to everyone in the group. That's not a law. You don't have to have liability insurance, and I certainly do not give legal advice. So do not interpret this as legal advice. It's kind of a standard in the industry to have a $2 million liability policy. And again, that's not a law, so it's not a shall. You don't have to do it. But the last time I priced insurance, general liability insurance, a $2 million policy is going to run about $400 a year. So it's not a huge expense, and it's certainly one that could help you. Now, again, but let me just repeat myself. It's not legal advice. So do not use what I'm saying as definitive legal advice. So to get that, I ask you to contact a lawyer or other professional that you can have their advice on. Now, you
Okay, we've got
you
two more.
okay.
Mario, you were asking for ideas. He says, my idea is on a food truck selling chicken wings of all flavors, Philly cheesesteaks, club sandwiches, nachos, and sodas. And then Zach says his idea, he's an aspiring pizza truck. Is the Food Freedom Act a potential way to avoid needing a commissary kitchen? Could I make my, hang on, just scrolled. Could I make my dough and pizza sauce at home and then sell the prepared dough and sauce to my food truck?
No, and the reason that does not apply to that is that that's specifically for manufactured foods, and that's not something that the health department even recognizes. So what you're talking about with your pizza dough, that would be subject to the county health department's regulatory. So the only thing that the Food Freedom Act applies to is manufactured foods. So it would be things that you would be preparing and packaging for sale, not for immediate consumption sale.
Okay, Patricia would like to know the Tennessee Food Freedom Act. Can personal kitchen prepared food and or cakes be sold at a farm stand or in a porch pickup scenario?
Absolutely, absolutely, it can. It actually can be if you're preparing something in your home kitchen and you're not reselling anything else that's been packaged by someone else, it actually is exempt from sales tax as well. So you can make baked goods, sell them from your front porch or a farm stand or whatever, what just however you want to do that.
That's
Now,
great.
now, Michelle, before we go on, I don't remember who asked the very first question about liability insurance or insurance. But that person specifically asked about some cooking classes, I
No,
believe.
that was another one. She wanted to offer cooking classes.
Okay. Let's talk about that. Usually what I recommend to people to do is when you have a cooking class, technically, this is not a manufacturing situation. I recommend to people to use it as an educational session. In other words, when you're offering cooking classes, you sell the instructional time for whatever you think it's worth, and as a side benefit to that, a meal might be part of that, or maybe a take home might be part of that, or whatever. So in other words, I'm not trying to tell you a way to get around the law. So don't hear that. But what I am saying is when you go to do the classes, then you're actually selling your time for education about the cooking. So you're not selling food, you're selling time and education. The food is a byproduct of what you're selling.
Oh, that's great.
So, and
Jocelyn, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. Go ahead.
Jocelyn's idea is she's thinking of selling burgers, wings, pastas, quesadillas with homemade desserts. For marketing, I would use social media engagement and setting up at peak hours at office buildings and festivals.
Okay, that's a classic food truck scenario, and people do it all the time. And the
Okay.
food trucks are extremely popular. Again, this would be something that your Department of Health would you would be permitted through the Department of Health, so you would need to contact them when you get ready, get very serious.
Excellent. Lucy would like to know, are the rules the same for non-meat dog treats?
Yes, they are. They are. As a matter of fact, the new changes that just went into place July 1st, here just a couple of days ago, actually enable you to sell non-meat, frozen, and cooked products as well. So it doesn't have to be the term you'll see a lot is this TCS. You actually see it up on the screen right there, which TCS is time temperature control for safety. TTCS sometimes as you'll see that. So which basically means it's either cooked or it's frozen for a long-term shelf life. So the new rules connected to the Food Freedom Act actually enables you to do that. Now, it doesn't enable you to do cooked meats and frozen meats because that's going to have to be that will always have to be temperature. That'll always have to be under USDA supervision, and that comes to that. I've got my cursor on it there. It says may not include. You go down the line, meat or meat byproducts or fish or shellfish.
Okay. Lori, I'm not sure what your question is. She says she's in culinary and she wants to know what the next step is after graduation. I
Well,
don't
there's a
know.
lot of opportunities. Most people in culinary want to be preparing food, but you certainly have opportunities with all kinds of food professionals that need help. So it's kind of up to you, I guess.
Okay. Um, then she asked, does a food truck have an organization that handle questions and setup? I can
No, not,
answer that.
yeah.
You can just go online and search for food truck association. There's an association for everything, and they'll have a lot of information for you in addition to what Mike has.
Okay, any more questions there?
Patricia says I own a trailer, but would like to use it to just put my homemade cakes and cupcakes on it as a stand. Would that change the distinction between a farm stand and a food truck?
Absolutely not. No, no, the structure will it doesn't matter. It just if you put up a tent or you have the most elaborate shed, or you have just a card table with an umbrella, it doesn't matter. It's the same.
Yeah,
Now, one thing you will need to check, all of you will need to check with your county clerk's office. There is a minimum use business license that most counties require once you hit a certain level threshold of sales. And that threshold normally is $3,000, but they'll be able to tell they'll be able to tell you what you need with that one. The business license is typically, I think they're 20 or $25, so it's not a prohibited expense. Um, and it's just a way for the county clerk to know your business and know that you're in business, but they do allow you to have that threshold of sales before you're required to get that permit, get that license.
great. Roscoe, thank you. In Nashville, we have the Nashville Food Truck Association. Uh, Roscoe, would you put the email address so that everybody can have it in the chat?
Yes, thank you, Roscoe. And I'm sure that would be a great resource for finding commissary kitchens as well.
Okay, Patricia wants to know, would that be the same using my trailer at a farmer's market?
Yes, absolutely it would. Yeah. Now you'd need to check with your farmer's market on the individual rules, because I don't know that all of them would allow you to pull something as significant in size as a trailer onto a farmer's market space. So while it certainly would be permissible as far as regulatory, I don't know that it would be permissible as far as the individual market.
Got it. And thanks, Roscoe. You all could go to the chat. He's got the web address. Scott has a comment. He said, I created a food trailer, but sales are slow and I'm looking for capital to sustain it until it gets going. I've only been in business for 1 month.
Okay, okay. Well, who'd you say that was?
That's Scott Trotter.
Scott. Okay. Well, Scott, thanks for your question, and I just will encourage you to say that it takes getting the word out takes a little bit of time. And if you have any access to social media or anything like that at all, or just friends, just make sure that everybody that has the information about who you are and where you're going to be. I'll tell you that the general public wants you to succeed, and they will come and be customers if they know you and if they know where you are. So I just encourage you in that. Now, as far as ideas for other products, um, the sky's the limit, really. I don't know what did you say what product what's your focus on your food truck? I don't think I
No,
heard
on the
that.
trailer. No, he
On the
didn't.
trailer. Okay, okay. Well, tell me a little bit about that.
You can unmute yourself, Scott. Well, maybe
Oh,
not.
can you hear me?
There you
We
go.
got you.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, hey,
Hey,
hey, yeah, I'm selling hot dogs, monster hot dogs, and banana pudding and chili cheese wraps. I'm looking
okay.
to expand into nachos since I've already got the chili. I'm looking to get a cheese warmer dispenser
Uh-huh.
to go with that. Just have to get the chips and everything. I can go put in the same containers that I'm putting the chili cheese wraps. So I've already got the container. The only thing I need is the cheese. But yeah, I've been it's called Smooth Daddy, and I've been going for about a month, and just kind of like funded it myself with my 401k, and it's just been really slow, and just looking to try to make it and get some capital to kind of make it
Sure.
through the
Sure, I
lulls, I
understand.
guess.
Okay, so and forgive me if I get nosy here, Scott. Just say it's none of my business or whatever, because I can be very nosy. So, but I do want to ask you, where are you setting up now? You don't have to tell me like the address, but in
Yeah.
general, where are you setting up now?
Oh no, I'll tell you, I want everybody to come.
Okay, okay,
I'm in Pulaski, Tennessee, small town,
okay,
about eight
okay,
thousand people.
right,
So far, I've been setting up at the Home Depot parking lot and the Tractor Supply parking lot here in town. Um, I built up a kind of a following. I've got about 90 followers on Facebook on
okay, that's good.
the page. I've got about 43 according to Facebook, their analytics, it's like I've gotten 43,000 views, and
Uh-huh.
over
Wow.
the month, yeah, I'm like, whoa, where y'all at?
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
get a hot
Come
dog.
down, spend some money. Yeah.
Exactly. Um, but I'm just trying to like get the daily sales up, and it's like since I don't live in a big city and I don't have a lot of foot traffic, which a lot I've been researching a lot of the food truck vendors, and foot traffic is kind of like the gold mine. I'm just kind of like if somebody comes by or they see it on Facebook, I got friends and family that are sending it out there, but it's just getting the traffic to come by. I get the people going lunch, or if I'm at Home Depot and like people are there, they see me, they'll come through, but um, it's just like I'm just trying to get that the daily sales up to kind of keep the money coming in, you know?
Sure, I understand. Well, I've got three places that I think might help you a little bit.
Cool.
University of Tennessee just bought the old Martin Methodist College
They did.
over there, the UT Southern. I guess you already know about that. And so
It's plastered everywhere.
I think it would be worth a call to them,
Okay.
to say, hey, I'm Scott, and I have this, and I'm available to come over for whatever you need me for. That might be a tailgate situation,
Cool.
I don't know what all they're doing outside, but certainly right now is maybe a little bit hot. That's maybe part of your challenge as well, is
Yes,
because it's
I think
so
so.
hot. But give that, 6 weeks from now, the weather will be changing, and people will be lined up to buy, and it's not such a big deal to be standing out and sweating, just in
Yeah.
the shade. You're sweating in the shade now. So so I encourage you to just to call them. And I don't have a contact there, but I just about guarantee you they'd be open to knowing that's available. The other two places would be construction zones and construction
Mm,
sites. If you have anybody
yep.
that is doing that, um, I think they would welcome you as well,
Hmm.
because
Ooh.
that's typically a high traffic
Yep.
area, and these construction guys eat a lot, and they're normally not that concerned about how much it costs them. So you can have some flexibility there. The other spot is in the industry and plant locations there. If you've got any place there, and I know there's several. I know there's a big Frito-Lay plant in Pulaski. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's industrial parks in Pulaski that has shift work. I would be I would look into that if at all possible. A lot of those shifts are from 7 to 3 or from 8 to 4. So you can set up at shift change, or a lot of those areas will have, they'll allow their folks to go out at lunch. So go set up at lunchtime in the parking lot. And the other thing about the industry is that most of the time it's not in a great location that makes it easy to go get a hamburger somewhere or whatever. And people don't like to take up all their lunch break by driving to get somewhere. They'd much rather walk to the parking lot and have you make it for them, and it'd be piping hot right there, and then they're supporting you as well. But that's what comes to mind as far as just my experience.
That sounds great. I appreciate the suggestions. I've thought about the factories, but it's like I've been told that they're kind of closed. They have contracts with people.
Well, and
Uh, but
it may be,
but
yeah.
I might give them a call anyway because there's probably about 6 or 7 here in Pulaski, and they may not all have contracts. So
Right,
if
right.
I get one, that could be added revenue. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
the input.
Well, sure. Now, does Giles County have a fair?
Yes, that's already
Okay.
come and gone. That was earlier this year. And I've been trying to hit all the different festivals and stuff like that. I was just in the Freedom Fest, which is the fireworks display, and I didn't do too well. I think they had a saturation of food trucks. They weren't doing the same thing, but I was kind of in a bad spot, and there was probably like 8 food trucks there.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but I I would have broken even, but I had to pay my help, which I
Sure.
very much needed.
Sure.
But other than that, I would have broken even. But I was expecting a lot more from that particular event. It was a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I would definitely be open to fairs around. I know Lawrenceburg's got a pretty good one. I don't remember when that one is.
Hmm.
But any fair that's in drivable distance, uh, if I'm in your shoes, I'm probably going to look into that.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea what they charge though. So
Yes. Yeah. I paid like 150 to get into the Freedom Fest. I paid like 130. I've already got a spot in the Blackberry Festival that's in Linville, which is close by.
Uh-huh.
But I haven't checked Lawrenceburg. I know Lawrenceburg already has like a big kind of a food truck um, like community there. So I didn't check. I've kind of been trying to like find places that needed more food trucks. Like we've only got four here in Pulaski that are like on a daily basis, but um, like for events, the food trucks will come in from, I mean, 40, 50 miles away to do events. So events
Yeah.
seem to be kind of saturated.
Sure. Well, the only other thing that comes to my mind, Scott, is your pricing. I'm sure you've probably looked at that, and we haven't discussed it, but just make sure you're competitive. Don't undercut. Certainly, you should be in the 30 to 35% food cost if you can. That's kind of a norm. If your food costs are more than that, you definitely need to charge more. But if your food costs are less than that, then you may not be charging enough. So, um, have you ever broken down your cost as far as what you've got in your food as far as a percentage wise?
Yeah, I haven't done a percentage. Um, like I think I'm really competitive for what I offer because I offer
Okay.
more than just a simple hot dog.
Right.
You
Right.
know, I get my hot dogs from Costco, so they're I do the quarter
Sure.
pound dogs.
Yeah.
So, one thing that, as a consumer, I always had a problem with is not getting enough food. Like, man, I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
Especially if
Yeah.
you're working outside and doing stuff. It's like, I would get two hot dogs, regular hot dogs. So it's like I know one's
Sure.
not going to be enough,
Yeah.
and so that was kind of my premise is that okay, the small dog is the quarter pound dog, so it's quarter pound hot dog. Then you have the chili cheese, onions, and the rest of the stuff on it. So it's good for kind of filling, but for someone who that really eats or they're big or whatever. I was ex football player, so I would eat a lot
Yeah.
when
Sure.
you're working a lot, and that's where the big one, which is I call the Big Daddy. That one's got two quarter pound dogs, so that's a half pound hot dog on it before you even add any stuff on it.
Okay. Okay.
So and pricing for the small one is around $7, and the big one is 14.
Okay.
So you can go regular or you can go big, however you choose.
Sure. Okay.
And the chili cheese wraps, which is basically tortilla, chili cheese, onions, jalapeno, whatever. That's um, like $6 because I make the chili myself. I mean, I tried to um, make it healthy stuff. Like
Right.
it's an all beef hot dog. The bread I'm getting doesn't have a lot of fillers in it. They fresh bake it at Walmart. Um, I make the chili, cook it, everything myself. Um, I use, fresh ingredients, and really nothing is like sitting around. And I don't keep anything more
Excuse
than
me, I'm
48
sorry,
hours. Yeah,
Mike, I need to interrupt. You have 10
but
minutes left and
Okay, I tell you what,
Scott's
Scott,
brought up some good
yeah,
stuff.
if you could just contact me, I'd love to continue this conversation. So I'll put my cell number in the chat, and just give me a call and let's talk about some opportunities. Would that be okay?
that'd be great. I'd
Okay.
love to because
All
I'm
right.
very, very, very new at this.
Sure. Sure.
I definitely
Okay.
appreciate any input. Thanks.
All right. Go ahead, Michelle.
Like at the end, we have a couple of other comments here in the chat. A couple of them are rather lengthy and go into areas maybe people can stay online and you can answer them
Okay.
individually,
Okay.
and we
Yeah.
can just keep this going.
Okay. All right. Would you mind weeding through some of the? Yeah, and I'll stay here as long as I need to. But would you mind weeding through some of those questions, Michelle?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. So Jocelyn wants to know where can I find all the necessary permits, licensure, and insurance necessary for her food trailer.
Yeah, you'll just have to do your homework on that one. The permits will be your local health department. So whatever county you're in, just locate, like just say if you were Scott, you'd be the Giles County Health Department, and just tell them what you're doing, and they'll be able to guide you with that. Now, as far as insurance, that's where you'll have to shop and find out, what insurers actually sell the products that you need. So I would just contact different insurance agencies in your town and just tell them you need some general liability insurance for your food truck.
Okay. Zach wants to know if there's any upcoming webinars or other recommended resources for someone looking to get a food truck up and running. All of the necessary requirements and things to look out for. We're not having a webinar specifically on food trucks. I don't know if Mike would like to do one at some time. But I would recommend that you go to the association that was recommended here, the local food truck association. That would be a great resource for you, or look for national food
Absolutely.
truck associations. Mike?
Yes. Okay. So let's continue on. Just I just want to hit the highlights of the Food Freedom Act, just to make sure everybody knows what they're doing or what's permissible. With this, actually, the new change actually allows third party sales as well, which basically is a fancy way to say you can wholesale the product. So it does not have to be direct to consumer. It can be sold through in any manner you like. So that's a very significant situation. It does have to be made in a private residence, though. That is a stipulation. So if you're in a commercial kitchen right now, then you would have to be permitted as a food manufacturer. So you would have to be in a private residence for this to apply, and it does apply only to food sold in Tennessee. And that's something that anytime food crosses the state line for introduction into commerce, the FDA gets heavily involved in that on a federal level. So as long as it's only a Tennessee or intrastate instead of interstate commerce, then you're fine with no permit. You do have specific label requirements. It has to have your name, your address and phone number, and the common name of the food. So just say if DeMario was selling his chicken sandwiches, he couldn't call it DeMario's Treats. He'd have to somewhere in the name of it, he would have to say chicken sandwich. So he could call it DeMario's chicken sandwich or DeMario's favorites chicken sandwich, whatever. But it has to have something where the consumer will recognize the name, so he'll know he or she will know what it is. The ingredients have to be in descending order. That means the heaviest thing, the most predominant thing first, the smallest thing last, which normally that's spices or flavorings typically are the last thing, but just the most in something to the least in something needs to be listed. There has to be a disclaimer, and this has got to be verbatim on your label. It says this product was produced in a private residence that is exempt from state licensing and inspection. This product may contain allergens, and we talked about allergens earlier, and I wanted to specifically bring that up. There's actually 9 recognized allergens in the United States. There was 8 for years and years and years, and there was another one added here about 2 years ago now. Is sesame is the newest recognized allergen. So we have 9 recognized allergens. So if your product, regardless of if it has any of the allergens in there or not, this statement that says this product may contain allergens must be there. And the reason that's the case is because you're in a home kitchen where other allergens are there. There's just no way for them not to be there. So you need to make sure you disclose to your consumer that the product that you're making could potentially contain an allergen. And that's not something you mess around with at all, especially with nut allergies. So take that one very seriously. And that statement is not a complete um, tool that would exempt you from any kind of liability. This would certainly not take the place of an insurance policy, say. But this is just your attempt to communicate with the consumer. Okay. Now, TDA's role basically is just what we're doing right here, is answering questions. We're completely hands off this situation. So the Food Freedom Act allows you to have freedom to make food in your home kitchen and enter a develop a food business with very little expense. We will be promoting best practices, and we'll act as a guide to producers to for research and things like that, or any help that you want. We certainly can give it to you if we can find it, but we will not be doing it as a regulatory body. So it would be strictly as a resource available to you. All right, and that's really that's the extent of that. But I just want to make sure everybody understood that what that is. Now I have a fairly long PowerPoint that goes over specific scenarios. I don't know that we have anybody in this group that would benefit from that, especially when I'm looking at it's 12:58. So I want to respect your time and talk about questions if you'd like, or just however you would like to use any extra time that you'd like to take.
Okay, we have Christine she's interested in manufacturing non-meat food products, vegetarian, vegan, and plant-based, and selling initially direct to consumer online and then wholesale. I'm working on a sustainable food business model that is creating a food product line for health and wellness and for medical and health conditions such as autoimmune, heart, and diabetes disease. I am in need of one, nutrition and food science expertise, and two, regulatory advice, particularly related to labeling claims, FDA, USDA, for commercializing food-based products targeted for health and for medical conditions. Do you have contacts to recommend in these two areas of need?
Yes, I do. Actually, our process authority in Tennessee is Dr. Mark Morgan, and he's at the University of Tennessee Institute of Agriculture, and I can connect you with him. He would be an excellent resource to discuss specific situations with plant-based foods. Everything that you described certainly is doable because it is a plant-based product. Now, the one thing that it's going to have to happen at the federal level, and I can connect you with the FDA state liaison, but health claims are an extremely delicate matter. The FDA takes them very seriously. If you say something helps any human condition on a health basis, then you have to be able to scientifically prove it with peer-reviewed research. So that's something you have to do. Now, one thing that is not as sensitive is that you can actually give personal testimony to how something helps you, or of other people that is helped you, and when you do that, you're just giving a testimony that this product helps me with XYZ condition. and you're not making a claim on a label that says this product always helps that condition. Hopefully that's clear. But it's so the FDA views things very differently if you're just giving a personal testimony as compared to making a blanket statement on a label that this universally helps something. So that's a situation you need to be very careful of. Michelle, you're muted. Michelle, you're muted.
Okay, Demario has his hand up, but first, Nicole asked, your answer made me consider, will the cooking classes be able to be hands-on for participants or only demonstrations?
Participants, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Or at whatever level you want, but certainly would be fine for participants.
Got it. Demario, you want to unmute and ask your question?
Yes, ma'am. So if I get my trailer going right, and if I have an event, say like in Mississippi, I have an event, right? Okay, so like would the LBA get involved with that then?
You cut off, Demario. Would who be involved then?
The LBA.
I don't know that acronym. What is that?
The what you were just talking about the on the
Oh, the
federal
FDA.
level.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said
Yeah.
LDA. The
Oh
FDA. I'm
no.
sorry. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the FDA would not be involved with that because you're going into another state as a food service. You're
Okay.
talking about taking a food truck into Mississippi, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
then most states have reciprocal arrangements that, like when someone comes into Tennessee from another state, if they're permitted in that state, that's recognized. So
Mhm.
more than likely, Mississippi Departments of Health would recognize your permit in Tennessee. But that's something
Mhm.
you definitely, before you go into other states, you definitely need to check and make sure that's the case, because you wouldn't want to
Okay.
have that expense of going down there and then just have them tell you you can't be there, you know.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure. And that's something the food truck association would probably help you with as well. It's not a blanket scenario. Tennessee touches 8 states.
Mm-hmm.
So out of 8 states, there's different different laws, for each state, because each state has that they can make the changes that they want.
Right. Because I know the tracks be down there, and I know they be needing some vendors down there as well. So like I was
Yeah,
thinking about going out to the racetracks.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I would contact the food truck association
Mm-hmm.
and just tell them, hey, this is what I want to do, and they should be able to help you.
Okay. All right. All right. I appreciate that. Thank you so
Sure.
much.
I think that's it, Mike. We have people that had to get back to work and take calls,
I
etc.
understand. I
So I
understand.
want to
Well,
thank
what,
everybody for being here, and I want to let you know that Scott has agreed to present another webinar. So we have another chance, and he may be addressing other topics, and that will be on Tuesday, September 23rd. You will be receiving an email about that, and you will be able to register and get online. In the meantime, as I put in the chat, Mike is going to be sending me the information that he used today. I will be editing the video so that it doesn't have all the garbage we had before the webinar started, okay? And I'll be sending that out to you so you have that to be able to review, because this was jam-packed with information. Thank you so much, Mike.
well, and forgive me. I know I jumped around a lot. So I definitely would like for you to contact me on an individual basis, and if you have, and we can just set up a conversation.
Okay. Did you put your phone number in the
You
chat?
know, I don't think I did. Let me do that real quick
And
here.
if you make sure it goes to everyone.
Yeah.
And we're getting a lot of thank yous. You are getting a lot of thank yous.
Well, I was trying to do it, and there.
Having technical difficulties?
I am. I've got it plugged in there, and it's not. Let's try it
Okay,
again.
what's the phone
Okay.
number?
61. Okay, there he goes. Okay, it should be there. 615-806-2298. Did that come through?
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Yeah, and let me put in a an email address too. Okay. Yeah. Actually, email is normally quicker. Typically, what I do is set up a dedicated conversation time, and I know that sounds silly, but my phone tends to be a little bit busy, and so I need to schedule conversations usually. That typically is easier.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you again, and thank you all for being here. And I wish you all the best in your food service entrepreneurship. And definitely look forward to having Mike back again. So
Thanks
y'all
so
have a
much to everyone.
absolutely have a great day, and we will see you soon.
All right. See
Thank
ya.
you.
Bye.
You're welcome.